think I have tried to look at these figures and comfort myself with what I'm seeing, but unfortunately I've not been able to have that comfort. Sir, if you look at item 22002047, which is maintenance of aircraft, Custom is going to spend 200 million for maintenance. And ironically, sir, the same aircraft is going to consume fuel worth 100 million. All the figures in block. What basis is being used to come to the conclusion that these are the expenses that are reasonable in the circumstances? Secondly, the chairman should equally explain to us that 180 million is being used for cleaning and fumigation. And when you look at the details of the report, we've not been told what and what is going to be fumigated with 180 million. So the concern, Mr. President, is that there is another line charge which is called other maintenance services, which is again taking 250 million. These figures appear irreconcilable when you look at the details supplied by the chairman. But I think an explanation may give us the kind of comfort that we require in order to say that the report can pass through this Senate. Thank you.
Senator Binos
Yaro, Adama South. I want to join in congratulating the committee on doing a very good job in preparing this report for us. My comment has to do with the expected income as presented by the chairman on page 3, and the item labeled retained earnings for ongoing project 2020, 91 billion. I assume that this figure is budgeted for 2020 and it is being carried forward to 2021. So it leaves us with the figures for 2021. If you look at the capital cost for 2021 in the budget, in the next page, 137 billion, and you net off this figure that is being carried forward from 2020, you will be left with 46 billion as funding for capital projects in 2021. And then if you look at the revenue that they have increased from 1.465 trillion to 1.678 trillion, you will realize that there is the 7% cost of collection, which comes to about 15 billion. In other words, the budget, really what they have for 2021 is less than 46 billion. It's about 41 billion from the revenue of 2021. So I think there's a need to explain that so that we understand exactly what they are doing. Thank you, sir.
Senator
Senator Francis Adeniba Fadansi, also is. Well, I will have to, first of all, thank the committee to which I belong for the job at least.
But are you not the vice chairman of that committee? No. No, that's your report. That's your report, so you don't have to, you can't commend the committee, you are the committee. Deputy Chief Whip.
Colleagues, Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, I represent Niger North Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me align myself with the past speakers, minus the Vice Chairman. Mr. President, mine is to bring an observation on page, is it 114? where the provision for capital project 2021 budget proposal summary. Here, the second item. I don't know, how do you do the numbering? I'm trying to see. Is that page 12? We are the last page. I think it's the last page of the summary. The last page of the summary before the grand total. Mr. President, my concern here is, if you look at the second item, which talks about armory stores, ammunition, etc., the provision is 45 million. And if you look below it, stationary stores, you are having 97.339 million. And coming down again, item number 16, photocopiers, trading machine. If you look at the provision, about 87 million. Mr. President, the point I want to make here is, we read many occasions or instances where men of the Nigerian customs are being gunned down by smugglers because the smugglers are using more superior firepower. And so I'm a little bit concerned with the provisions I've seen here, which to my mind appears inadequate against some other items that to me appear unessential. Because the fact that custom officers, men and officers, are allowed to bear arms is simply because the danger in the work they do. We are those who intend to sabotage our economic, are also using superior firepower to kill our custom, men and other ranks. So I don't know if the chairman have actually looked at this, or maybe perhaps there are other explanations beyond what I understand. But otherwise, I'm a little bit disturbed that it means one essential ingredient for their operation is being under-budgeted. These are my concerns.
Please, Chairman.
Non-federation account, why is it reduced to 178 billion? The reason for this is this, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. When the custom target was pegged to 1.46 trillion, when we increased it to 1.6 trillion, they were arguing that they cannot meet the target. We now told them that they can meet the target in view of this variation that has come up after 2021 finance bill, the opening of borders, the cabineted drink and all the rest. So we now increase it to 1.6 trillion. When they increased it to 1.6 trillion, that was based on the framework given to them in 2020 before the COVID. And that 2020 before the COVID, the federation account was 1.5 trillion. The non-federation account was 1.78 trillion, making 1.6 trillion. We just captured it from what was given to them in that 2020, which was revised to 1.4 trillion in that order. So they were arguing that it will be easier for them to do the collection if we maintain that level so that they can make the 100% revenue collection. That was why we gave them the 1.78 trillion in non-federation account. And if we have increased it to non-federation, increasing more than that, the target will be more than that level of 1.6. That was why we agreed to give them that level and 1.5 trillion in federation account, making 1.6 trillion. That was that. Then the one of the aircraft, we even asked the Controller General, why are you maintaining the aircraft of 200 million when the aircraft is not flying? He told us that it is only when it is not flying that they maintain more aircraft than when it is flying, that they have to do the same services as if it was flying. I'm not an aircraft flyer to maintain. So we argued that when he said yes, it's the same maintenance, even when it is parked on the ground. So that was why we allowed it. So the one of the 91 trillion capital budget, which my colleagues said about, we argued on that 91 trillion billion. The problem with the custom, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is that you know they are revenue generating agency. They collect monthly. What they do is that they will collect till the end of December before they will start to award the contract of 2020. Like for instance, the contract of 2020, it was last week that the FEC approved it. That is this 91 billion, or which they approved for them. They will wait till the end of the year before they will now say they process their contract for this, because I will not ask them, why do you have to wait till the end of the year? He said they will have to wait so that to collect the 20 every month till the end before they start to award the contract. For instance, the budget of the capital budget of 2021 now, they will not, if they are following that pattern, they will not award it this year. They will award it next year, and that is why we now put that retained earning. And if you now look at the capital by say you machine it, you discover that they still have surplus. Then what of this surplus? What do you do? You say they retain them. They retain the budget, the surplus in their account. They don't want to. They will take it anywhere. It's there, and that they will use the budget to augment. That is the system they are adopting, which we agree, which we did agree with them. We struggle, and that is how they have been operating.
Well,